In the world of mental health care, diversity, equity, and inclusion are not just buzzwords, but fundamental values that shape the way we care for individuals and communities. Step Care 2.0 is a transformative framework that recognizes this and goes beyond the traditional one-size-fits-all approach to provide multiple and diverse care options that reflect the needs and circumstances of those served. Join us to discover how Step Care 2.0 is leading the charge in promoting a synergistic approach to wellness that embraces diversity, equity, and inclusion.
It's such a complex issue, and there's so many layers. How do you package and capture the concepts that are needed to unravel a starting point for somebody? Because the interpretation of diversity, or being supported to understand diversity, is about seeing it as, I'm going to have a Black member of staff, or we're going to have representation in images. Now, people say we have to start somewhere. I get that. Then if I go into practice in that way, it will be reinforced that you operate from this way only. Now, that meant that I may just be a person of color. But then how do I meet the needs of the person of color in front of me? Because I'm not recognizing, I haven't been equipped to deal with their specific needs. So that means that the DEI quota that I meet is a fallacy. It doesn't exist because I've been trained, paid for, licensed to operate and deliver a service in a particular format. So what good am I to that person of color in front of me? I may make them feel a sense of comfort because they think or may assume that I will identify in the same way that they do. But my university did not prepare me to do that. The society I live in do not prepare me to do that. The licensing board does not prepare me to do that. So what happens is we have a society that has trained a mental health profession not to address the needs of people who come in. And what we're working from a synergistic perspective is about acknowledging that. Not just me because I'm Black, but everybody has a responsibility to say, I may be in a room where I may be a voice for change.
I think the mechanism, within the system that was allowing for the evolution, included different working groups that we had. So we had working groups that were based in diversity and inclusion. We also had working groups for training, and that actually highlighted making sure that we had multiculturalism and competent care across not just singular, but also intersectional identities. And I think those are things that helped make sure that we as a team were being held accountable to really growing in diversity.
We explicitly sought out hiring staff with diverse identities. When we would think about bringing on a new team member, we would think about what are the things that are the qualities we might need in somebody to join the team that might not be represented already, and then celebrate those differences.
Everyone doesn't operate from within a white Eurocentric model of what mental health and wellness needs to look like. And so really being able to hone in on individual cultural understandings and engagements with wellness and mental health can really put the client in the driver's seat.
You're going to not be able to really understand what the needs of the population and the community that you're serving are if you're not empathizing with their needs and not willing to really even mold that same system if the community needs a different response, right? That rigidity would maintain there if you're not empathizing and you're not leaning in and you're not asking, what can I do? How can I respond?
I have to really understand and have cultural humility around understanding very diverse experiences different than my own. So it was really important for me to understand different perspectives, challenge my own biases and assumptions that I bring to the table.
We really had a very clear message, which was everybody just gets to be who they are, and that there's not one cookie cutter way of doing it. And by being who you are and bringing all your identities, bringing all your ideas, all your personality traits with you and things that you're interested in, just makes this team a richer place and makes the experience of the students even better.
There's an authenticity that we're really looking for that has been lost in our society. And part of step care is restorative. We cannot forget that, rooted at the foundation of this approach. And part of our disconnect in our way of everyday life is that we are disconnected with who we are. And in order to get us back to that, to restore us, we need to be present.
Yeah.
So as you're saying about authenticity, I'm going back to part of the core of training for mental health providers is to separate yourself.
Yes.
That you can't be you.
Yes.
You're disclosing too much. You're telling too much
Yes.
about you. So there is an absolute disconnect here between how our mental health care system should work from an authentic point of view to a controlled, rigid, I'm here as a subject matter expert that's going to tell you the thing to do. So we have a really big issue here.
It's interesting how some people scratch the surface of authenticity. I think what you're saying is, I want to know what's going on in you right now. I want to know what's top of mind for you, and as opposed to what you've rehearsed.
Yes, absolutely.
What you've rehearsed, what you've been trained to do for 10 years. I really want to know how the two of us are going to work today to figure out what I need.
Yes.
I'm here to talk to you because I can't get it on my own. That's why I'm here. But I don't want you to tell me what you think I should do. I want you to help me figure out with the whole system what would be helpful.
And I think a lot of people are confused about, and I guess afraid of, how to do the restorative work.
It is, the restorative piece is interwoven. And we need to recognize that our engagement, our processes, our systems, our structures should have an element of restorative. And we need to be really conscious and intentional about putting that into the systems.
It's a whole package, sure.
Yeah.
So you're not picking and choosing, saying, well, this is my modality and this is what I'm going to do. You're saying, what does the person in front of me, and how can I bring what I have to that?
Yeah, and I can grow from that.
Yes, totally.
I don't think there's stepped care without the foundation of a philosophy of either DEI or this philosophy of interconnectedness. It's just centralized into everything that you're doing.
We had a multidisciplinary team that worked that was flexible, but diverse in that there was a type A and there was a type B, in that there were people who were more detail oriented, then there were more people who were more flexible. Just different backgrounds in social work, counseling, psychology, psychiatry. I think that also helped in just who built our team, the intentionality behind building the team, and that we are, kind of working together to address a diverse population. And so it wasn't just, one person or one type of person that could really work together.
That means that I have to use myself as a tool within the space, my natural reactions, my intuitions. And frankly, it allows for a liberation and match my treatment planning to the rest of my approach.
I think once you open yourself up to the possibility there's a lot of ways of meeting people's therapeutic and mental health needs, then you feel less pressure about trying to figure out how to do it.
So this idea of locking into this individual therapy that you're stuck with until the treatment plan is done and then you terminate is actually something that isn't quite natural. And I think it was recognizing that through the supportive supervision that helped me to realize that we were doing something really special and different. And I wouldn't have wanted to go back to how I was operating before.
The clients that I have, I know that I've learned and grown so much, more so than the theorists that I've studied and read and been trained by, because it's
because you're curious. Because you're curious about the person in front of you.
Yeah.
Because to be curious is an amazing thing. It feeds your soul. And so I can be curious about you. It's not that I have to give everything to you. In fact, I think that's where we get it wrong. It's not that I'm serving you. I'm with you and I'm interested.
Yeah, it's the engagement.
And that interest is coming from just as much from me and my humanity as it is your need. It's also my need, because the connection is universal, and I think sometimes we lose that somehow my needs don't count, and that's what leads to burnout.
My job is to help somebody to say, let's look at the person. And that to me is what's so different about this holistic way of understanding our practice. And so when you apply that principle throughout the mental health system, it becomes flexible, it becomes adaptable, it becomes not something that is rigid and is controllable. It is present. It's about being present.
In the moment.
In the moment.
In the moment.
Absolutely.
Which is very one at a time, in that this may be all you have right here, right now. So make the most of it.
When AnnMarie, when you say make the most of it, it's more fun. It's more. It's like okay, let's just do it. Let's get into this, and then we feel connected and excited and hopeful.
We all have a responsibility of working towards well-being for everybody.
By acknowledging the responsibility of all individuals and promoting cultural humility, we can create a synergistic approach to wellness that puts the client in the driver's seat. Everyone gets to be who they are, and that's what makes the team and mental health care richer.